Do you think that gun companies like when that happens? At least in the short term.
Oh, for sure, bro. That's why I don't want to buy Springfield products anymore.
Do they always like push scare propaganda and then hike their prices up?
So Springfield is in Illinois. That's where it's headquartered. Let me just get my facts straight here. Actually, while I'm getting the music pulled up, are we recording right now?
It's rolling.
It's rolling?
So, yeah.
Okay. Usually I think of that in terms of cameras, and since we have cameras, I just thought you meant the cameras were rolling.
Cameras? Well, this was not rolling when you were saying you want to overthrow the government.
What? I said no such thing, Patrick.
Oh.
Craig, while I'm getting music pulled up, pull up all the cases of Springfield being anti-2A. But essentially, Pat, just feel free to pull this music backwards once you get started, I guess. How do you do that in the recording studio? Like, if I'm talking and the music's not live, do you wait to turn the music on until...
Sometimes I'll loop it back, and sometimes I'll let it play out in reality of how it happens.
Gotcha.
It's like my creative expression, my little ways to. I'd
appreciate if you expressed creatively less.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we got a level of music. Music's on. I just don't think it's actually coming through. I think. Thanks, Craig, for telling us that. There we go. Again, White Bat Audio, 80s action thriller playlist. Gosh, he just makes good music, man. This is some Patrick Bates stuff. You know, Patrick Bates, American Psycho, Christian Bale.
Yeah, when he's
dancing and just going over the details. I would love to see a remake with AI of Patrick Bateman just talking about White Bat Audio before he kills Jared Leto. What are you looking at, bro?
Well, I was making sure that camera was in focus. We've been having some camera focus issues.
We've been just having issues. That's just the show. You know what I mean? The show is just, we bring in a new feature to it, and it doesn't work.
It's because Craig has no thumbs. And so focusing a camera, it's hard to grip it.
That's not true. See, when you say stuff like that, people don't think he's real. Craig has thumbs.
he just...
Craig, wiggle him around.
That's why there's no spaces in the words when he types us emails and memos, because he doesn't have that space bar action.
Bro, I did see a guy with no hands do a really clean pistol drill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he has the most insane whole... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I saw that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We watch the same stuff.
The algorithm has his pegged. Yeah. But yeah, he has that weird molded stump mold.
Yeah.
He shoves the stump in and he's fast.
And it's a brace, honestly. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a brace. And then he uses the other nub to hit the trigger. Mm-hmm. And he has a really clean firing competition shooting 1911. Yeah. So he has it looks like a crazy decked out staccato. Mm-hmm. And then that thing has no recoil anyways. Just smooth as butter. So, all right, here's the thing. So what we were talking about, I don't know, you got to trim it up. Okay. Yeah. You got to trim this up. But what we were discussing was how Congress announced just the other day that they want to have a 1,000% tax on AR-15s and magazines, which again, I don't get what they think that would do, since AR-15s are, you're so not likely to be killed by an AR-15, someone using an AR-15. You're more likely, thousands of percentages points more likely to be shot and killed by a handgun if you're thinking of firearm deaths.
Mm-hmm. And wouldn't everybody just switch to buying another platform? The rise of the AK in the West.
Yeah. 1,000% tax on AR-15, and you just hear
Scar. A Scar is not an AR.
No, but what was that legendary Russian priest Rasputin?
Oh yeah,
yeah. You just hear that bill gets passed. You just hear Rasputin echoing up from all across the country as Americans just switched to all the Soviet guns. Anyways, so they think that would do something. It wouldn't do anything, but it's also like just really inappropriate for the government to put such a heavy tax on something that they don't want people to have, but still go around and say like, oh, no. You still have that in the Constitution.
You still have a right to that.
Yeah, you still have the right to that. You just have to be able to afford it. And it's just like, who do you think can afford that?
Who's going to suffer from that?
If, let's say, like, the cheapest ARs that you can probably get today.
$500 ish.
Maybe.
Right.
Still, maybe.
But just for easy math.
Yeah. $500. Well, what's a 100% tax on that? That's going to be another $500. So that's at $1,000 AR. 1,000% tax on that is going to put you at $5,000 for the cheapest AR. Think about like your Gucci tier ARs that are still within like everyone's budget as long as you pinch. Like if you want Daniel Defense, probably the most overpriced entry level AR, but still like it's a Daniel Defense and it's going to run smooth as butter. It's a reliable weapon. If you want to get one of those, like right now, I think like if you're getting it pre-built off the website, it's like $1,600. So it goes to a $16,000 AR.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, if you have the right license, SOT license, you can get machine guns right now for cheaper than that. You can get like machine guns for $10,000.
And those aren't ARs. So you could get those. Everybody's just going to start buying machine guns.
Shit, dude. Yeah, I'll just get my SOT like, and then I'll just get a machine gun. And then they'll be like, wait, this backfired. Everyone's got Mac 10s now. Hold up. But anyways, so that led us then to discussing something else. How do we get on to Springfield Armory? What led us all the way around to Springfield
what I said
Armory?
was, do you think gun companies, when they hear something like this, the murmurings of something like 1,000% tax getting passed in the government, or things like they're going to take your guns away, do gun companies get a little bit excited about that, especially in the short term for those the next quarterly report?
Yeah, and I think they definitely do, because they know anytime that kind of stuff comes out, there's one, they have time. Like gun companies have time to stop that and lobby against it. Two, in the meantime, they're going to send out as many emails to their followers of like, get it before it's gone. You know what I mean? Or, donate so we can help fight, which I get it. If you want to see stuff change in government, you got to spend money. Just that's the bottom line. Like, I personally don't donate any money to like, gun groups. There are groups that I like pay a subscription to that I know part of that subscription probably goes to lobbying for gun rights, which I'm fine with, right? Like I don't donate to the NRA and or anything like that. Not that saying you shouldn't or whatever. I really don't care. It's your money. But I think those groups, like those firearm companies, really do enjoy the quick panic.
Yeah.
And they get definitely a boost in it. Which is how Springfield got into hot water, because several times they've had a history. And I'm trying to see if I can sort through this long page that Craig sent over. But essentially, Springfield had an association as well as Rock River Arms. Both are headquartered in Illinois. IFMA, Illinois Firearms Manufacturers Association, received an exemption to a law that small dealers who sell less than 10 guns per year. That's the exemption that was given to Springfield. Okay, hold on. But essentially, a gun dealer licensing act in Illinois came into like policy that was going to basically require that all Illinois firearms dealers be licensed at a federal level as well as a state level. And the state level is where Illinois, because like all firearm dealers are federally licensed,
right,
in the whole nation. If you sell guns, you're federally licensed. But at the state level is where they can make it real difficult. They can make it like going through hoops, and it can be shall issue, right? And so that's where they were going to make everything a pain in the ass. But then they had an exemption, like if you sell less than 10 guns per year, you're exempt. And then so they gave that exemption status to Springfield and Rock River. And it really looked pretty crony-ish, like Springfield Arms and the companies who fund this firearms manufacturer association withdrew their protest of the bill in order to get that exemption. And so it looked very like, I don't know, just crony-ish that like Springfield, and rather than putting their foot down and being like, no, you can't do this, this is wrong. Illinois was essentially like, oh, well, we'll give you an exemption. You can still sell all the guns you want in Illinois, your home state, but you can't protest the bill. And it's just like, dude, that's the most like rollover weenie thing that a gun company could do. Cause it's like think about this. It's like a, if you want to flip it to another thing, it's like a anti-cigarette campaign. And then a tobacco company was like, whoa, man. We'll stop protesting. We'll stop. I don't know, whatever. We'll stop trying to work against your lobby for non-smoking. As long as you give us an exemption that we can still sell cigarettes. And it's just like, you're not really helping your cause here, right? You're not really helping your market. It's pretty wet sandwichy.
Or like any of your arguments you've ever made about the Second Amendment being something that is a way that you justify the way you make your living. Now you're making it an exclusive. You're taking and you're altering what the Second Amendment says, making it exclusive, where really only the haves can do it, not the have-nots. And so,
smoke break. Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution. Yeah, and that was like, that's interesting because I've been so not about Springfield for so long, I forgot that was why. But like, I literally just turned into curmudgeon where I was like, yeah, I don't buy Springfield stuff. I can't remember why.
Yeah.
But they did something that really irked me.
Yeah.
And I stopped supporting them. And I sold my XD to someone else to, be their first firearm. And so I don't own any Springfield products anymore. But anyways.
Take that.
Yeah. Also, like, what are your thoughts on like this whole 1,000% tax thing? Like, let's just think about it too. Like, if it was any other freedom underneath the Constitution, like 1,000% tax to, essentially be on social media and have you be part of like a freedom of speech domain, a public speech domain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's using sneaky ways to essentially take away rights. And so
listen here, poor. We're putting 1,000% tax on cars.
Yeah.
We're not saying you don't have the freedom to travel at your leisure.
We're putting 1,000% tax on gas cars.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Electric cars are fine. 1,000% tax on gas vehicles.
So either walk like a poor person,
or
just buy an electric car, or if you're really wealthy, then get a gas car, like the rest of us senators and congressmen do. You know what I mean?
Just a straight up H1.
Yeah, dude. It just drives me up the freaking wall.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And I just feel like all these people live in a fantasy world.
The current president in chief is completely
he's in his own
senile. Sorry, he's completely not senile. He's completely fine in his own mind, like completely right of health.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's an illusion. It's a circus when you see him kind of perform around him.
Yeah, and someone told me this way too, of just like, someone who's never went to the store and bought a gallon of milk because they've had a private chef pretty much their whole life, or have never driven a car because they have a private car, like a private driver, just those sorts of things remove you so far from your people.
Yeah,
that you are unrelatable.
Yep. And I would say too, I just want to say this because I've talked to a couple of people, shared the podcast, with a few new listener groups. And I told them, I was like, we try to be apolitical. And I know this sounds political, but really, I don't think it is political. I think this is all very pretty, bipartisan. And if you just look at it at its core, does it make sense for a democratic republic, that has these rights enshrined in it, regardless of what your political beliefs are? Does it make sense that only the wealthy should be able to afford firearms? Look, man, that sounds pretty feudal. That sounds pretty no, peasant, you can own a gun.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to afford one.
Yeah.
Give us a kidney.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's just it just sounds to me so not I think Democrats, Republicans, anyone who's a firearm owner should be able to look at this and be like, that is not okay. That's incredibly tyrannical to essentially start blocking people away from access to basic rights through paywalls.
Because even if you're at the point where you've decided, for gun violence in America, that you're yeah, just do it. Do whatever it takes. Then just apply the slippery slope stuff to giving that sort of power over one of what other things could be that applied to, cars, housing, food,
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, especially you go, all right, same thing for you red meat lovers out there or whatever. Or if you love kale, let's just say you love kale. And then whoever's in office decides that the harvesting of kale is immoral. So therefore we are going to tax it 1,000%. That's whatever you want to, however you want to play it out. You end up just once again handing over more power.
Yeah.
From the people.
Yeah. And it's I just don't get the logic of the government needs to do something and make it harder to get guns. Also though, the government is tyrannical and I don't trust it, and it oppresses people, and we need to have the ability to defend ourselves from the agents of the government. And I'm just do you hear yourself? That was you believe all of that, and do you hear what you're saying? Because it's the same people who are anti-police that vote for $1,000% tax on civilians owning firearms, and I'm just then who's going to have ARs? Only police. Aren't those the people who you're saying need to be abolished because of how violent they are?
It always falls back. It always seems to fall back in on itself.
Yeah. Well, and here's the bottom line. Again, I don't want it to be political. I think my comment about President Biden, I do think that is apolitical. I feel like I've met just about any Democrat or Republican I've spoken to, all have had the same concern of his health and his faculties of mind, and the fact that he is an oversight. He's got a committee that keeps him in check, hopefully, right?
Or even the fact that if you ask anybody this simple thing, did you vote for him or against the other guy? The vote was against the other guy.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely knew a lot of people who were like, gosh, I will never vote for Trump, but damn it, I'll never vote for Biden. And I was like, so who'd you vote for? And they're like, I voted for Biden.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Like, look, man, I'm not like free country, vote for wherever you want. I'm not going to judge you for it, but it is kind of weird how that quickly fell apart.
I'm not going to judge you for it, but I will blame you for where our country heads.
I'm not going to even blame them for that too. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't even think, here's the biggest thing. I'm so not in faith of most, I don't have a lot of faith in the institutions at the highest level in regards to like how not dog and pony show it is. And so not saying it was rigged or anything like that, but I really can't, I just don't like see like the ability to blame a person for presidential policy. You know what I mean? Like if I look, like I can never blame my neighbor for presidential policy. I'm like, yeah, you voted for him, but look how that turned out. And like, you know, in their mind, it's like, I didn't know he was going to do that.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, because it's hard to know how much power the individual actually has in the whole deal.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, all governments would rather have the populace pointing fingers at each other than at the government. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But
definitely.
All that said, I know that was, if you want to be political, that was a very libertarian, I would say, segment there. And I wouldn't even say I'm libertarian, but I try to be as apolitical as possible and just approach these things from an objective viewpoint of preserving democracy, preserving a democratic republic, you know? So
then I just have a real bad habit. It's a real bad habit where I just look at my phone and usually watch whole movies every night while I'm falling asleep, bro.
That was my bad habit when I was in like high school, dude. When Netflix came out in high school, I got on my phone. I was like, this is going to be a disaster for my second semester senior year.
This hasn't like always been a habit. This has like been like within the last like year maybe.
Yeah.
Of just, and it's killing me.
What movies are you watching, bro? Why aren't we doing brews and reviews of these movies? If you're watching one a night,
I watched like sometimes what I'll do too, it's like, because you know, you can get stuck on not picking something.
Yeah.
So for a while straight, I just did like Liam Neeson movies every night. If it was a Liam Neeson movie, I watched it. Just boom, boom, boom. I just was hitting them all.
Do you think your taste in movies is getting better because you're exposed to so many bad ones?
I know,
or do you think your taste is getting watered down and you're just like, oh, that one wasn't as bad?
Yeah, I think it improves my ability to actually like critique a movie, but it degrades my ability to enjoy a movie. You know, to just be like, oh yeah, I like that. I enjoyed that.
I've had a real good habit recently of when I get in bed. This has been the routine for like probably the last month now, maybe 2 months, just because of these Western books I'm listening to on Audible. When I get in bed, I put the Western book on a 45-minute timer. So it's, you know, it stops playing after 45 minutes.
Nice.
And I play one hand or two hands of poker.
Dude, I can't do that either because I've also have another dirty habit, rotten habit. Here's what I do first. YouTube shorts for like an hour.
In bed?
And then poker for like an hour and a half.
Bro, are we on the same poker app? Are you on Poker Offline?
No, I'm on the World Series of Poker.
Bro, get off of that. Get on Poker Offline. It's the best.
Right,
we can play together.
No, dude, because we
can play poker together, bro.
I've thought about this. I was like, I'm pretty sure I could develop a gambling addiction.
It's not real money.
I know, but the emotional impact it has on me, dude. Like,
okay, dude, you shouldn't play poker.
I know, dude. Where it's just like, here's what happens every time you go in, and I usually like you're warming up, a couple hands, go up, triple your money at least, and then you start betting on all. You just bet everything because now you just have money to spend.
Yeah.
Then you end up with zero.
I started at like whatever the game starts at. I think it's like 200,000 chips. And I've worked up my way to almost 300 mil.
There it is.
And my philosophy is as soon as I go in, I just say, if I reach this amount left in hand, or less than that, I'm out. Yep. Like I just leave. Like if I do like, you know, if I'm like, oh, my limit's 10 grand. And if I hit 10 grand, then I leave the table. If I go under 10 grand because of a bet, I leave the table. And like I do that.
But what if it
to keep from losing money?
It always does that. And then you know what the dealer sends me? Like ace king or whatever. You know, you're just like, I'm staying in here with these face cards.
I leave before I look at the cards, dude.
You got to get out. You got to get out fast.
But also, here's the biggest thing I've learned in all my time in poker. Your ace king.
It's the same as a 2-7 in some ways.
Yeah, your ace king is still going to get beat by like 2 pairs. You know what I mean?
But the other guy's ace king is going to whoop your ass. That's the problem.
Every time.
Yeah, dude. Every time.
Dude, I freaking love poker. I'm so happy you're talking about this because, dude, I have been on such a poker grind. But here's the thing. I think because it's not real money, I don't feel as high when I take it from people.
Right.
I do feel good because I can do like say funny things. And like when I feel like I am reading it well and I'm baiting them well, that feels really good. But I don't ever really feel like I'm getting led on or baited into like losing a lot of money. Like most of the time, like, well, of course, not any money at all, right? But the tokens, the chips in the game, because I haven't spent any money on it. But when I'm playing it and I lose a hand to somebody, I feel like I'm a pretty good poker player. So I'm at the point now where it's like, if I lose, I'm like, oh no, that makes sense. Like I lost because I thought I had a really solid flush here, and I totally oversaw a straight, and that guy had a straight and that guy won. So no worries, no harm, no foul.
Right?
Like that's just a better hand, and I should have paid attention. I don't usually get to the point like, yeah, pair ace. I got rockets in my pockets. You know, State Farm. Not State Farm. American Airlines.
Yeah.
And I'm not just like, I'm gonna win with this pair of aces, and like doesn't matter what anyone else has because I've got a pair of aces. And then cards, you know, flop. I'm like, I still got a pair of aces. And I guess now I have a pair of threes on the table. Okay, so maybe 2 pair. And then, you know, someone wins with 3 of a kind threes, and I'm just like, I don't like. I guess I don't get wrapped up in it because I'm just like, I still only have 2 pair. Doesn't matter what I have. Like, there's so many other ways to beat that. So, but anyways, I just wrote a machine, program, not a machine, I guess, but a program that runs as many hands of poker as I want it to run, and then logs each hand what won and how many players were at the table playing. And to give
that's what changes it up a lot when you're playing with like 3 people at the table versus when you have 7. It's a different situation.
Different yeah. Well, and so I have it running from. I didn't go up past 6 because I've never been at a table with more than 6 players. At least in all the time I've played poker. But I ran it and I did it 250,000 times for each amount of players to figure out what hand you are most likely to win with. Like more times than not, if there's just you and one other person playing, or you and 3 other people playing, whatever amount of players you want to pick. If you get this type of hand, you're going to win, 35% of the time. And it was cool because at, what was it? It was at 6 players. You have a 35% chance winning with 2 pair. Like if you have 2 pair, your odds of winning are 35% chance. Now that doesn't factor into if you have 2 pair and someone else has a higher 2 pair.
Right.
It's just that 2 pairs win 35% of the hands of poker with 6 players. When you go less down than that, they don't win as much. Oddly enough, there's weird different bumps at which hand overtakes the other according to the amount of players at the table.
And it's hard to factor in that's where the human factor comes in.
Yeah, I mean, because if you try to rationalize an AI to understand betting and all that, AIs never go for all in.
Right.
Some kid just recently won an award. My buddy was telling me this. He saw that this kid won an award for his AI program that he wrote. He wrote a poker game, and they're like, "That's awesome! You wrote an AI that wins 100% of the time in this poker game." He's like, "Yeah." And they're like, or not 100% of the time, but it wins. It beats all the other bots.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, how'd you do it? And he's like, I just wrote it to go all in every time before the cards flop. And like, you do that, all the other programs that are told to weigh rationality and statistics,
they back out.
They always back out because like, oh, well, my odds of winning with the cards available to me, which are just 2 out of 50.
Because it's never like, you're never over 50% chance of winning. Probably.
Never.
Like, so like those bots are like, we have an F- chance.
Yeah.
Fold.
Currently not going all in. And so like, I was just like, yeah, I mean, that's not sophisticated, but that's cool. It's cool that kid figured that out. That's the way, AIs think. But so yeah, I really got into it. I would love to play with you, but also not if, it's a vice. I don't want to get you to a point where like hey, I took all my money and I just spent $80,000. I took a mortgage out of my house to buy more chips in this poker game.
But I think I like to play poker. My favorite way to play poker is with a couple fellas, do a $20 buy-in, sit around, hang out, and then, deal them out. And with caps on stuff, like, where you're not, guys aren't throwing their car keys on the table, stuff that's getting wild, and it's just,
yeah, dude, I've only ever played for money once. And it was back in Mississippi, and I didn't really. Did you think for a second it might have been a real story? I was trying to make it look like I was drifted there.
Oh yeah.
No, we played for money once. It was the same thing, $20 buy-in. That's it. And we just decided rather than like doling out chips equal to $20 and change, whatever. We are just like, look, whoever has the most chips at the end of the night gets the pot.
Yep.
That's just the easiest way of doing it. And like, hey man, like
I want my $5.28 back. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
None of that crap.
I watched a guy lose himself over. We did a $5 buy-in one time, and he like had all of a sudden he was like, I gotta leave early, and we're like,
it's like too bad.
Yeah, and we're like, he's like, can you deal me out my money? And he had like $2.30, whatever, and it was like, and it turned into a thing, bro.
That's ridiculous.
But like, so you could see like it was just like, oh man, he's being serious. But the best part about that story was he never even paid me for the pizza that night, so I should have gone hunted him down for that $2.30.
Ever hang out with that guy again?
Yeah, we still hung out with him, but it was just like, because here's the deal: it was like what was surprising about it was how surprising it was. He's just like a nice, calm, like fun dude, like really gentle person, and then something about the gambling and money just flipped a switch on it. Yeah,
weird. I would never hang out with anyone like that ever again. Not saying that it's wrong for you, but I'm just like, I'm a very quick, as soon as I see money become an idol or something that you're willing to like lose relationships over. And like, don't get me wrong. Yes. If you're like, hey man, $200 on here. I'm cashing out. Can I like cash out what I have left?
Right. If you're playing big boy games with real poker money, like, yeah, let's go.
Like, it's like fair, right? But like, I'm like, look, dude, I get money's money. And you might be at a different income level. So like, I respect, the sensitivity towards it. I've been dirt poor before, too. So like, I know what it's like to think like, dude, I don't have the money to do this. Like, I don't think you get it. But if that's the way you feel about money, don't sit at a table to play poker for money with your friends, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna harsh those relationships pretty hardcore pretty quickly. I don't know. I've only had good experiences, dude. We played poker for like a whole semester in college once. Or was it a whole year? Might have been a whole year. It was every night. I mean, not every night. It was every Tuesday night, I think, or Wednesday night. We called it STNW, same time next week. And the ultimate, it was never for money. It was just, for fun and hanging out and getting to know like people in the dorms. But then the thing that it like culminated in was at the end of the semester was whoever was the first one out of money in the final game or out of chips in the final game had to get the tattoo of the person who won.
Oh my gosh.
That hand. So out there is a homie who has a big green poker chip on his butt with the initials
of the winner.
Yeah. The initials are QK in that green chip. And I just think it's like one of the funniest things because it was like a dude who was like such a good sport about it. Probably, again, like the nicest guy you'd ever meet. Just so gentle and soft spoken. And then the other guy was definitely a nice guy too, but like way more competitive, I think. And so somewhere out there, that like super nice guy, you know, good Christian boy, got a big old, the only tattoo I think he has, maybe he has other ones, I don't know, but like the only tattoo he had for a long time was that. But I mean, it was like the bottom of a soda can, like sizable poker chip. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's not like even like a really clean. You know, it looks like that like 2-dimensional, just circle lines around the outer circle, and then color it in QK. Got
the discount.
Yeah, it was
discount
funny,
butt tat.
It was funny,
man. The high stakes poker. You can get yourself in trouble fast in the old poker arena.
Yeah. Did you ever play like the wacky? Like if we were sat down with someone to play poker and they're like, yeah, so we're playing jacks high and twos are deuce in the hole. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on? Can we play Texas Hold'em? And they're like, no, man, this is how we play here in my house, my rules. I'm just like, I'm not playing. Like, I just don't play there. I'm just like, look, dude, like either you have the patience to tell me that beforehand and teach me the rules before I sit down, or like, I'm just not going to play. I'm because I don't want to get competitive and feel cheated out of like me not knowing the rules. Yeah. Now, if you're going somewhere and they have house rules and it's for money, then you better know.
Yeah.
Like, don't sit down and throw a hissy fit and expect the dealer to teach you the house rules. You know, when you're playing for money. But because if it's my friend, I'm going to be like, dude, why didn't you tell me? Like, what is this weird nonsensical rule stuff?
You got to explain it. It's actually my favorite way I love to teach poker to people. And so when we'll get together, the way we do it is dealer chooses the game. So the game's changing all night long. Especially if you're playing for no money, people have chips and it's people learning how to play poker.
How do you know the different rules? I don't even know any other rules than the rules.
Yes. There's different styles, different ways to play. So different, like the most simplest way would be like, we play different games. You play Texas Hold'em, you play 7-card stud, you play 5-card stud, 5-card draw. And those are all the same, like, you know, pair beats a high card, 2 pair beats 1 pair. Like it's still it's just the way they get dealt and when you bet is different. So we do that and I teach them how to bet each of those games because I think it's important for a fellow to know. You should be able to sit down at like a card table and just kind of at least be able to hang and not feel like you're totally out of place. So anyways, you play, and these days in this day and age, everybody just plays straight up Texas Hold'em. It's
just so good.
I know that's like, but you got to know a couple other games. And so because all the guys who complain a lot about switching up the game, I think are because they don't really know how to play the other games, and they get kind of like they're like, no, dude, we're playing Hold'em here. We play Hold'em. It's like, what's all right? So, anyways, we learn the games. So I take everybody through the games. Then we play.
See, I just don't know any of the other rules. Like I don't know what 7-card stud is. And so if you were like, oh, can we play 7-card stud? I'd be like, if you want to teach everybody,
that's what I do. We teach everybody the whole night. So then you can go play something else. Then we play a game called Guts, which gets real wild.
I've heard of that, never seen it played though.
We play a game called Baseball, which involves wild cards and stuff, and it gets crazy fast. And then my favorite thing to do at the end of the night is we play blackjack, and I'm the dealer. And we just sit there and we're talking, we're playing for like, for another 25 minutes.
Money?
Well,
you just take all the chips?
This is all, when we're doing this, we're doing no real money.
Yeah.
And so by the end of, like, after just hanging out, talking, we're just, we get all done and, like, with a couple hands, and I say, all right, everybody, look at your hands. Look at your pile of chips, right? And they look down and like, all right, now look at my pile of chips. And they look at me, and I'm just like,
that's why you never play blackjack.
Like, don't play this. Don't play this if you go out. Like,
never play blackjack.
It'll get you.
Did you ever play Indian poker?
Oh yeah.
See, I think Indian poker is the ultimate stakes. I think Indian poker is where
just the
men are made,
the cowboys stare
metals
down.
forged.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, just right on there.
I know what you got.
And you're just
Question is, do I know what I got? Question is, did I see it in the mirror of the bar?
Yeah, exactly. And you're just looking around, and you're just all weighing out the different people's facial expressions.
Indian poker's so good. You know, like once you realize what Indian poker is, like the first hand you're playing it, and you realize, okay, wait, so what's going on here? We're betting on what we think ours is, and if we can trump everything. And you're looking around and you're looking at everybody else looking at cards and they're looking at yours and you're like, oh, there's a lot of high cards out there. And then you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like it feels good when you're playing a hand of Indian poker and you're like, okay, 2, 4, 7, 9. All right. I'm looking good. I'm looking good here.
That's when you look around and it's like,
king, queen, jack, king, ace, ace, ace. You're like, I'm boned. I'm so boned. Oh man, dude, it's pretty fun though.
It's good. You got to know how to play the old poker.
Yeah, I did see a guy once at a Ren fair who actually had professionally traveled and toured doing like bets on 5-finger fillet.
What
5-finger fillet is just like who can match and do the longest like. Your fingers.
The knife game.
Yeah, and you got to keep up with the other person without poking yourself.
Fingers.
And like most people are bad at it and not quick. So like it's pretty easy to stay in pace with each other before someone pokes their finger. Because then it's like, oh, we're matching each other. Okay, I'll go a little bit quicker. Oh, they're going a little bit quicker. Oh gosh, and then someone cuts themselves, right? Mm-hmm. Dudes who know 5-finger fillet can just go without looking like down at it, and no one can keep up with them. And then when it's really them, you know, they keep going until they poke a finger, and the bets get like pretty high. But like, I do remember seeing his hands. His hands had a lot of freaking scars over the tip. Like his fingers look like someone chewed on them. You know what I mean? Like just like the divots of scar tissue over years and years of doing it.
Yeah.
But
the trick is to get going real fast. And just fast as you can, but be outside your fingers. You gotta get fast enough that people don't notice that you're not really getting it done.
Interesting.
You know, just cheat.
Interesting.
That's the method there. I saw a kid once we were doing that in middle school, and he's with a pencil, freshly sharpened pencil, and went in there. The pencil lead went just all the way in the finger and just snapped off in there, and we're just like,
so gross.
Time to be done with that.
I think the real way I've heard of it like played is like one person starts on a bet and you have to follow their pattern, and you alternate patterns that have to get like one step further, and then like you either make a mistake on the pattern and that person gets your bet, like they get the pot, or you cut yourself and that person gets the pot.
And you're trying to do it as fast as you can so they don't see, so they're kind of forgetting.
Yeah. So you go like start between thumb index, and then you go thumb, pinky, index middle, ring middle, index thumb out, and you just go. You're like quick, and then they're like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? That'd be fun. Just kidding. I would like if I ever walked into a bar and I saw guys play 5-finger fillet, I would go. I do like the classic like, what's the dad on The Simpsons? Not Homer, but his dad.
Oh,
I can't remember
his name.
But he just like the scene where he walks into a bar, puts his hat on the hook, turns around, grabs his hat off the hook, walks out.
Just in and out.
Yeah.
Yep. If you had a prosthetic, you could really make some money that way. Because people would be like, this guy doesn't give a care in the world. He's a...
No, but even
if
you poke yourself.
Yeah, but they don't know you poked yourself. You don't know you poked yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think they'd be onto it the moment you poke yourself the first time and there was no blood. Like they see like pokes the middle finger and the finger like folds in half from the force.
It's all floppy.
Yeah. Anyways, dude, poker, man. I do love a good game. I'm also like, I have a couple of friends who are like, oh, I love gambling. I love
parlay bets on my sports app.
Yeah, but like I talk to him like, do you play Texas Home? Like, oh no, dude, I just play craps when I go to the casino. I'm just like, that is gambling. Yeah. Like that is like all luck, no strategy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate that. I haven't spent a lot of time in casinos, but I feel so out of place. Like I don't know all the little nuanced rules. There's so many things.
In like casino?
You know, like you're not supposed to touch your hands here. You're not supposed to like grab this card yet. You're not supposed to like you bet at this point. And then there's all these little like there's just all these little rules to games that just everybody seems to know that I feel like I feel like a middle schooler trying to break into a ring of kids like talking. That's how I feel the whole time I'm at a casino. So
I've never played anything at a casino just because I've never been to one other than to stay the night. I stopped in a casino one night on a late night drive in bad weather.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need a hotel room, man. And they're like, if you like open up your card on file so you could just pull money off your credit card right onto like your card walking around and scanning to grab chips or like scanning at slots. They're like, if you do that, it's like $50 off the room. I was like, sounds good.
Yeah.
And they did that, and I was like, all right, have fun. I was like, okay. And I just went upstairs and went to bed with a discount on the room, and then I like checked out.
Nice. It's not a bad way to go.
You can get a lot of discounts if you go to the casinos pretty frequently. I mean, you could go and they'll just give you free rooms, free food, free drinks. You got to go frequently enough to spend like, that they know you, I guess.
You hit up it's because they know they're making it all back on the people who can't say no.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who once I was like, it'd be fun to go up to Blackhawk sometime and gamble, whatever. And he's like, I can't. And I was like, why not? He's like, no, dude, I seriously can't. Like, I'll empty out my bank account.
Wow.
And he was like, I can't do it. And I was like, what if we just bring cash and you like leave your cards, and like, he's like, no, I will I will find a way to get my money and I will spend it. I was like, all right.
I get it. Like, I get that exists. I've just never felt that way about gambling ever. You know what I mean? And I've also just like, I don't know if I've ever met anyone personally that was addicted to gambling. Like, I've met people who are bad at it.
Yeah.
And like they lose money, but I've never met anyone who wasn't able to say no and stop spending money.
I think I worry about the sports betting apps. How many guys out there are just now have closeted gambling addictions?
I definitely know a lot of guys who are doing sports betting several times a day.
Yeah. And like, I just think, I bet there's tons of dudes out there who are getting themselves either one, way in a hole and way in a bad place, or just like wasting tons of money. And they won't realize till they, look at their statements at the end of the year or whatever. But because you used to have to either, you had to go to a place a bet, don't pay it, the bookie comes and finds you with his friends, or like go to a casino or go to a sketchy like back alley crapshoot, and see if you could win some money or whatever if you had to scratch the itch. But now it's just like on your phone right there, you can just tap the button.
Have you looked into that thing where it's essentially like you can't lose, but you don't win a lot? It's a type of betting on the sports apps where you look at the odds that they have for one side of the bet. So, I'm just going to simplify it, but like Broncos versus Patriots. And on one app, you bet that Broncos will win. And they have an odds return, of, you bet this much, this is how much money you'll make if you bet on it, right? I can't remember what it's called. It's not called like Favor or something like that, but then you look at another app or another, website, and they have better odds for the Patriots or something like that, right? And then you can put in a calculator. There's like certain calculators that are out there where you just put in the odds for each one and your amount of money that you're willing to put on, and it tells you what to put on which one, so that way you don't lose any money. You will make money, or you won't lose any money at all. But when you do it that way, you're not making a lot of money. right? Because you're always accepting like I'm going to eat cost, like I'm going to spend money and potentially win it all back. Or I'm going to spend money and win a little bit.
Right.
Because I'm still having to spend it to get a little bit back out. And it usually like someone's done the math and like there's guys who are doing that as just like a full career and all they're doing all day. They don't know anything about sports. They don't know anything about boxing.
They just know math.
They just use the calculator and they just play stuff all day. And at the end of it, you win all that. And the thing that really kills some of these guys is the taxes they have to pay on winnings versus what you would pay on a salary.
I was about to say that.
So these guys, they start doing it and they realize, oh my gosh, I literally need to do this every day for 8 hours a day in order to make enough money after taxes to like maintain my quality of life. You know what I mean? And so like some guys though, like, I mean, they say, you know, you essentially earn like 6 to 10% in a year on like essentially everything. Like every transaction averages out to like 6 to 10% interest on it, you know, that you're winning back. But you also like, you know, that's averaged out. So like that includes all the times when you don't win anything. You just win your money back. I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm interested in it. I can't remember what it's called. It's not like hedged betting, but it's something like that.
Right. Because you can hedge your bets in other ways. But then this is a whole nother.
And even though it's not illegal, you have to usually use
multiple apps and different bank accounts.
You can't do it all on the same phone. You have to do it on an app. You could do like an app on your phone, but then you have to do an app on a different device. And usually try to like use a VPN because these betting websites use cookies to track you when you go to other websites. And if they see patterns of hedge betting, then they just ban you from the platform. Even though it's not illegal, they just say, hey, you can't do that anymore. You're here. Right. We're not going to let you use our platform anymore, which is like so dumb, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, you mean someone's kind of winning money every time? They're not winning a lot, but whatever. Anyways, I just always thought that was cool and interested in, you know, warrants looking into if you're looking for another way of like making some money in your downtime. But that's not like the type of betting I know from sports apps that most of my friends are doing. Most of my friends are like not doing that stuff. They're like straight up like, I guess they're way more sports guys than like most people. Like they know a lot about sports.
Right.
So I guess they're making decently informed decisions, but it's still a big gamble. You know what I mean? Like odds on a sports team performing to the level of a bet is way different than the likelihood the next card flipped over is going to be a heart and you're going to have a flush. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's one that is a constant and does not change. The odds, no matter how long the day goes on until that card is flipped, the odds remain the same. You know what I mean? And then like, there's this one where it's like, did he eat the right breakfast? Yeah. Is that guy going to sprain an ankle running? Is he going to step wrong? And, you know, his knee going to get blown out before he reaches the touchdown? It's just like all that stuff is way more up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that's really gambling. You know, like you are gambling at that point. You're not betting.
Yeah. You're just making a seemingly informed decision. And then there's just some guys who just are really good at it. Whatever it is. They're good at blackjack or they're good at like sports betting. They're just like, I think that
blackjack you can be good at as long as you can keep track of cards.
Yeah. Sometimes I think luck is a thing.
I don't think it's a thing.
I think some guys are lucky, man. I think some guys are. I don't know, you know, what the deal is.
I think that's way more about body language than it is actual odds. Like I just don't think people. I don't believe in like. I really don't believe in luck. I do believe in like statistics. And I believe like when someone is statistically out of odds, we interpret that as luck.
Right.
But dude, statistics exist to give you the best likelihood of something occurring or not occurring. And sometimes some individuals, I think, just run into a lot of things occurring that are very unlikely, whether good or bad. You know, and so if to the rest of us, we just recognize that like, wow, that's outside the norm. Like that is beyond what the average person experiences we call it luck or unluck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just view it as like, nah, dude. What, like when you look at the equation for like the odds you'll die in a plane crash versus the odds you're killed by debris falling from space, you would say, wow, how unlucky that guy died from getting hit by like satellite debris. You'd be like, what are the odds? I've never met anyone hit by satellite debris. You've also probably never met anyone who died in a plane accident, but you would think plane crashes are way more likely than dying from debris falling from space, falling from the atmosphere.
If that guy got in a plane accident, lost his legs, but he's still making it. He's crawling away from that thing. It's burning. He's crawling away, and then just whoosh, a little bit of satellite through the brain pan. You're like,
that is unlucky.
That's unlucky, bro.
Statistically, those things happening at the same time, like this close of it, we would call that unlucky. But in a universe of infinite possibilities, that is definitely for sure something that could happen. You know what I mean? And like that's why I kind of, I don't know. I think that's kind of like statistics. So like they kind of ruin the way you view that stuff because you just realize you're like, I don't know. It's also the same thing I look at like. I mean, it's also part of the reason why I look at like biblical miracles and stuff as miracles rather than statistics is because there are some things that happen in like that we've recorded in history that have occurred. We're like, wow, that is so unlikely. The odds of all those happening are like, you know, someone doing that. Like a big one is, who's the guy who essentially predicted like the Twin Towers and, the war in the middle, like
Notre Dame.
Yeah. They're the odds of like a lot of his things being true and coming true as he predicted them are pretty low. But also you look at all of his predictions that aren't true.
Right.
And you're like, okay, it kind of averages out actually. But then like I view stuff that is like miraculous, biblically speaking. And I'm like, okay, that shouldn't happen. Like some guy, this mathematician, did the odds of essentially the time difference between Old Testament prophecies and Jesus Christ fulfilling those. And not just that he would fulfill the ones, you know, like he fulfilled the Old Testament prophecies that he did while he was here on earth. But that he would even be able to do them with the way geopolitical things change over time or environmental changes, right? Like we're talking like some of these predictions came out when the Jews were fleeing Egypt. What are the odds that there would be in Israel for Jesus to be in, where they were like, you know, they're predicting like there's going to be like these things happen here and he will do these things. And it's like, well, that requires like so many different factors to occur, such as like in Israel to exist, where the Jews live, where they are currently under the oppression of not Egypt, but a foreign government. And it's just like all those things, like the likelihood of all those happening at the same time for one lifetime to do in a window of 33 years is so crazy small that like statistically we define other things as miracles when they're far more likely. When they're about 1 trillion times more likely, we would say they're still a miracle. Like the odds that Jesus did all those things in a lifetime is like trillions
in itself,
trillions of impossible, like the likelihood of that of those all aligning. So that's why we like people define those mathematically as miracles, because there's other things we define as miracles that are way more likely.
Right.
They're all still way less than 0%. Well, not less than 0%, but they're, you know, less than 1%, half a percent. But there are certain things that we were like, wow, that was a miracle, and it was like 1,000th of a percent occurring. And then the odds that Jesus would, you know, do the things he did and be able to fulfill those prophecies was like, it's insane. Like it's more like it's something unreasonable. I can't remember it, but it was like the comparison of the figure was like
something to the umpteenth power.
Yeah. There's more stars in the universe than there are, there's fewer stars than there is zeros between the decimal point and like the number for like the percentage. So it was just kind of like, okay, like, well then as a mathematician, statistician, how do you argue with that?
Yeah.
Anywho.
No,
I get pumped about statistics.
I think that in biblical apologetics, like conversation, it's people want to divide. For some reason, there's this whole thing where it's like it's science versus like religion, or science versus like Christianity. But
never made sense to me.
But it's like really, if you're from a standpoint of believing that it was created, it's like the science. Someone's like, the first thing someone would say about this would be like, well, what's your evidence? Like, you've never like taken a picture of God, or like no one's ever like recorded like, his existence or whatever. But it's like, but the just the very, I think science speaks to the fact that there's a creator. Science speaks to, I think it's one and the same. It's not a versus thing to like disprove the other. And in one from the like maybe atheist camp or whatever that wants to try to combat science, that's one thing I have a problem with. But the bigger thing I have a problem with would be like Christians who won't engage science.
Yeah.
Because if you believe God created it, then it's worth working through understanding how it worked, because its very existence of whatever that thing is within his domain. So,
well, and like there's now a leading conversation in science. Not saying this is what majority of scientists believe, right? And also science is such a fickle domain that like I'm very careful to say like science is a umbrella term, because there's a lot of people that say trust the science. Right. There's a lot of scientists who have been saying, yeah, but what you say is science is not science. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what you say is science is kind of political and politicized for an agenda, word vomit. And if you want to follow science, then we should be willing to ask questions and look for the answers in those questions. So I'm really careful with like saying like, I don't believe like in saying like trust science, but I would say like as a Christian, I do not believe you should be content with, and I know this is going to like probably like get some people's fire started, right? And I hope it does. I don't think you should be content by simply reading Genesis and saying that is all the evidence you need that the world was created in 6 days or whatever, and evolution isn't real. I think like to have faith in that is good. Like that's fine. Like I believe God created the world and everything around it, right? But you should examine the other side's argument against creationism, right? Like you should examine it and be willing to examine it and be willing to hear it and listen to it and be willing to attempt to understand the science. Because for me, I was anti-Bible, coming from a point of Christianity, coming at Christianity from a point of like evolution. I believe evolution. It makes more sense than the idea of like this magical fairy tale guy creating the world and universe, right? And I actually felt very kind of floor came out from under me the more I like went deeper into the science of like evolution, and more I got into the arguments it makes and the assumptions it makes. And I felt like there were several points where you had to make some very severe assumptions to really believe that evolution is a valid theory for the existence of intelligent life. I also believe like Big Bang and what we understand of the universe is always changing. And now like the Big Bang is actually falling out in theory in a lot of popular science. Like not saying that a lot of scientists are like, yeah, no, the Big Bang is not true. God created the universe. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying like the Big Bang was this thing that we were all, the book was smacked in our heads about the Big Bang and we had exams on it, and you were like, you're either passing the 7th grade by how well you know like this course, or like if you flunk it, like you're gonna have to retake this course again next year, right? Mm-hmm. Literally things that we were taught in school are now being swapped out for like possibly not true, or being debated whether or not they should even be taught, because there could be a different theory that we believe holds more water. Mm-hmm. And so I just think, like, all that said, when we talk about science, you got to be very skeptical of like, what does this person mean when they say trust the science? Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I see that like people say trust the science, and it really comes down to like, well, no, just agree with my political opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you can, it's easy to fudge the numbers on anything and
so easy, bro.
Lean things your way. Like,
bro, everyone wanted to say trust the science about how, I don't care what people think about this one. Mm-hmm. COVID is not as lethal as people thought it was. Mm-hmm. I know people who died not from COVID and were labeled as COVID deaths. And a lot of that has come out, you know, in the years since. Mm-hmm. You know, just all the stuff that has come out about COVID that a lot of people were told to shut up and shame because they're fringe weirdo conspiracy theorists. Mm-hmm. And now a lot of them are like, dude, I was telling you this 3 years ago, and everyone's just accepting it as truth. Like the science coming out, the real science, the real numbers coming out, you know, with review of like, oh, the mask actually didn't do anything. Like masking up really didn't do anything. Had no significant impact. You can't see a demonstrable area where it had an impact over an area that didn't mask up. And like, I remember, you know, I was studying data science to get my, you know, certification and all that during COVID. And there were people who were like, we are seeing a huge, like significant, and by significant, scientifically significant, greater than a 5% likelihood. I mean, greater than a 95% likelihood that masking up is reducing the rate of COVID. And it's just like, what are you, that's some real confidence, man. That's you're literally talking about the confidence interval in statistics. You better have the math to back it up. And then now like it's coming out like, no, that math doesn't exist. Like it didn't even appear that way at the time. And I'm just like, hey man, like you got to be aware of how misconstrued those numbers can be. And you got to really ask the hard questions and be willing to examine the argument.
Right. Yeah. Because it's being weaponized and politicized. You know, science in general, or whatever.
And it always has been.
Yeah.
You know, for as long as like I would argue that like
people were killed when they said the earth was round.
Exactly. And like I would argue that science has always been in some form of another existing. And like back in the day, people who were executed, burned at the stake for saying the earth was round and not the center of the universe.
And they should be, because it is flat.
They were executed based on like what the popular science was. The popular science is, well, no, the earth is the center of the universe because the sun, you know, and the moon revolve around us. The whole celestial body revolves around us at night. And it's like, that's clearly the wrong science. But if you just had examined one another's arguments rather than being political about it, you probably wouldn't have had this, you know, probably would have gone around to the answer a lot sooner. Right. And that's why I'm always like at a big emphasis of like, you need to examine each other's arguments rather than like just closing your ears and pointing your finger. Because like that is how you seclude yourself from science, from the scientific method. But anyways, the reason I'm talking about this and like I'm making that as a big pre-statement is because it's becoming way more talked about. It's already been talked about for years, but it's getting way more traction now, according to like with everything we're pulling in from our latest James Webb telescope. Some scientists, more and more scientists are believing that the universe is conscious. That like the universe itself is a conscious entity of some kind. And like quantum mechanics and string theory are all gravity. All of this is surrounding itself in a way of energy transfer through the universe. And the laws of energy transfer and matter in the universe are simply part of a consciousness that is aging. And as it ages, we're not sure if it dies. We're not sure if it gets old and senile, right? You know what I mean? But like, there's a lot of scientists who are like, you know, they're wondering if the universe is conscious, and they're asking the question. And some people are like, what the hell are you smoking? It's black space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 99% of it is empty.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, it's not like a human brain where like it's full. You know how much empty space is in your brain? Like less than like 0.5%. You know what I mean? But other people are like, I don't know, man. Kind of looks like a brain when we look at like a mapping of essentially the way light travels through the universe between different like stellar bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the way that
like a
works.
neural pathway.
Yeah, it looks
brain.
like yeah. And I think a lot of people have seen that, you know, like the universe looks like a brain. And you're like, wow, that does kind of look similar. But at the same time, you know, you have to understand like how hard it is to probably accept the universe being conscious to people who are atheistic to begin with, you know, or like harshly agnostic to any higher being of intelligence, right? And so I just thought it was interesting because I'm like, how close can they dance to the idea of there being intelligent design without saying it? You know what I mean? The universe may be sentient in its expansion and direction, and it's just like, what the hell are you saying? Matter knows what it's doing? Like how much farther are you going to get from it? You know,
and getting closer to saying like the big G word.
Yeah.
Like whether it's in the Judeo-Christian like understanding of that word or not, like you're starting to approach, you know, having to use that word.
The universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the moment people also say like, yeah, I think the universe has its ways, man. It's got its purposes and it's got what it's going to do for you. I'm like, the hell are you saying?
Yeah.
Why not just say the God, a God? Like, how is the universe conscious and separate from the consciousness of a divine being?
Right. And just because you want to separate yourself from what you might see as like, you know, some as a flawed institution or whatever.
Yeah.
People will fight tooth and nail and stay away from it. But the science might continue to push us in a direction where they're gonna have to say something about it.
Well, then, I think it's something that Christians should read. Like, this is a scientific argument proposed by non-believers that the universe is conscious, and I think it is beneficial to believers to, like, yes, accept that it's all Ecclesiastes, accept that it's all been said before, that there is nothing new under the sun. Whatever's postulated now has been postulated at another point by another person, and trust in the wisdom of God. Okay. That's my big, Christian argument, is that ultimately trust in the wisdom of God. Whatever you think, test it against scripture. In my experience, scripture holds up. Right. But there is a lot of value, I think, to hearing these opinions and hearing these arguments and conversations. So that way you were prepared for, 2 Timothy, whatever. But being prepared for a graceful and gentle response to, any arguments that are, set forth by non-believers. And I genuinely think like that's how I became a believer, was because men were educated. Not saying that there weren't godly women who helped me become believers, but there was primarily men who had an interest in the beliefs of a non-believer, learned those, and then discussed their beliefs and my beliefs to help answer my questions. Right. Yeah. And so anyways, but I just think it's cool. So check that out. Our kin out there, definitely give it a look. The universe itself may be conscious. Also, there's now an argument too, that like people are trying to make sense of how the age of certain things don't make sense in the universe. And they're wondering, like, it kind of looks like some things were just put in certain places at a certain point in time already in existence. And we don't know how they exist there, because everything around them should be older, but it's not. It's like the gravity of this star should have had this kind of effect on its celestial body over the last, 10 billion years that star has been alive. However, it looks like it's only been around for 1 billion years, and therefore it doesn't add up into our timeline of how we understand stars and the effect of gravity on other celestial bodies. And it's just like, I don't know, man. That kind of sounds like it was put there. Like the way you're worded, that kind of sounds like someone dropped it there and left it. And I'm just wondering, like, how much further you could get close to that without saying it.
Yeah, there's got to be some guys out there who are just starting to like be like, we're going to have to just say it. We're just going to have to say it. And then they have to come out with it and take the criticisms and get burned at the stake.
Yeah. Anywho, big tangent on scientific, eschatology.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
eschatology is the end of times.
What's the one that's not end of times? Help me out. Educate me, my man.
On just theology?
What's the two? There's like eschatology, that's the end of times, and then there's another one that is just the study of. It's not theology.
I know.
It's like the justification of faith by observation.
Yeah. It's right there. It's right there in my. Now I just have the word hermeneutics stuck in my head.
Yeah,
but it's not that. It's you have to just look it up.
I'm looking for it.
Alrighty, but maybe it's maybe it warrants more conversation. But it may be eschatological. Might be a little bit of eschatology in there if we're dealing with an aging universe, like how if there is are we inside of a Joe Biden brain? It's kind of hitting the end of its deal, but is the end of its deal like another like 40 billion years? And do we know anything about it? Or are we just going to keep on?
Ontological is made from a philosophical argument. The ontological basis for faith.
Yes. There it is. I feel like I need to pay more attention to things like the James Webb Telescope stuff, and there's so many new things getting discovered all the time, especially when they start getting into quantum mechanics, string theory stuff, that I just feel like I don't have the time to learn it.
Epistemological reasoning, epistemological. There we go. Reasoning for faith is a reasoning for faith based on knowledge, like the study, methods, validity, scope.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the epistemology, ontology, ontological, and epistemological. There you go.
And
learn something new.
And the entomology, because we're just in a giant ant.
Entomology.
Well, I think that we've taken a few turns. We've discussed a few things.
Quite a few turns, yeah. You never know what is going to come up here. I really did come in just only planning to talk about poker, and here we are.
Yep, we got there. This one I think is going to be coming out like right at the end of August, beginning of September. We'll be heading into. People are getting into the school year, the fall rhythm. Mm-hmm. It's been cooling off this week already. It's going to keep on. Maybe we'll probably have a few more hot weeks, but then heading into fall. My football people out there getting excited about it. I wish I could get excited about football again. You've
been hurt too many times.
I think that all sports don't matter. They're at their essence, they're an exercise in warfare, and we've taken out so many of the guts of it. We won't even get into my whole theory of it now, but it just seems like just pointless. Have you been reading
Blood Meridian?
No.
Okay.
But there's
it's literally an argument in Blood Meridian about all sports are a practice for war.
Really?
Yeah. It's like one of the devil's arguments for evil and war. And aren't all sports just simply practice for war?
Yeah, no, that's what I swear I've not heard that, but I've been saying this for a long time, that all sports are just an exercise in warfare. So maybe there we go.
Start calling you the judge.
Yeah, the Mick and Pat show. We've been talking about last episode. We're starting to be bringing you the book club here, so maybe we'll have to revisit that.
Yeah, the judge isn't a compliment though. I take that back.
I know.
Okay, I don't want.
I know. The judge sounds like a rather rotten guy that I'll have to go discover. But we've got Wait, we'll start. I think we should. I want to start doing it. We'll
how about instead? How about
some books
right now? Tonight, rather than watching a movie or playing poker on your phone,
listen to the whole thing straight
just
through.
Put Audible on and just fall asleep to Audible in your headphones.
Of that horrible, scary story.
Because I imagine when you're watching these movies, when you're going to bed, you have headphones in, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure you're not keeping up.
My wife.
What was it? What's the name of your wife?
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. That's right. And so, just put a book on instead and let it lure you away.
I have been reading a book at night, but every once in a while, my dirty habit sneaks back in there.
Hey man, you won't use that dirty habit if you just put a book on and then put your phone down.
I know. I'll listen to. Sometimes I listen to scripture too, going to bed.
Yeah. I do sleep great when I have the Bible playing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I have an old English man's voice. Some people think it's boring.
I do me
right to sleep.
Celebrity acted Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jim Caviezel is the voice of Jesus.
Oh,
it's the
wow.
New King James version, and it has like 30 something actors who lended their voice to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You need to look into it.
Like real actors too. Yeah. You know? Like I'm trying to remember. I think I have to pull it up. But I have it on my app, and I paid on my phone, and I have it downloaded, and I just paid like the $60 one time for it, and I just have it always downloaded.
It's like Seth Rogen.
Yes, Seth Rogen.
And I want to hear Post Malone reading me the Bible some.
Dude, I would actually like. I would listen to that.
I'd listen to Posty read the Bible.
Yeah, dude, I'd just be happy he's reading the Bible. Man.
All right, we know that Posty's one of our listeners. Get started on that.
Cool. Well, hey, Ken, we love you. We hope you enjoy listening to the show. We hope that, honestly, I hope that most of you don't agree with us on everything, because we love like a diversity of opinion and learning and growing. And so whether it's things you agreed with or disagreed with that we talked about, let us know. But remember to just, be kind to one another. Be kind to people you're going out in the world with. And, Pat, you got any other sign-offs? Any other updates?
I think you said it.
All righty. Till next time, Kim.
Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.